Hello, and welcome back to the Variant Geek Podcast. I'm Brennan.
I'm Zach.
I'm Jason.
And today we're here to talk about our top 10 games of the decade. We'll each say our 10th, and then we'll each say our 9th, and so on and so forth. So yeah, let's get into it.
All right. So I guess I'll start with my number 10, and that would be Dragon Age Inquisition. It was a great game. I know it won Game of the Year when it came out in 2014. It's not my favorite of the Dragon Age franchise, I will say. I like Origins better, but it came out, I think, in 2009. But I mean, it's still a great game. Cool combat. It's kind of like MMO style combat. Good story. I mean, it takes, I think, upwards of 60 hours to complete. I don't know if either of you two. I know Brandon's played it a little bit.
Yeah.
Interesting characters. They kind of build off of the story in 1 and 2. You actually get to meet the character from 2 and 3 in Inquisition. And overall, I think it's just a really fun game. And, yeah.
So for my 10th
I think
place,
we have the same 10.
I believe so. I chose Stardew Valley. And
I did as well.
My reason why is because it is something that I know the creator of the game, he created it basing it off of a similar game style, but it was moved into 8-bit.
Mm-hmm.
And I really enjoy it when I play it. I enjoy all of the mechanics of it, building the relationships, fishing, mining, farming, things like that. What do you like about it?
I mean, a lot of the same stuff. I mean, I really like Animal Crossing New Horizons. It's kind of the same reason I like Stardew Valley. It's the same thing. It was one of those games that I remember I got it when I was really sick and I was at home and I had $10 to kill and I got it on the Microsoft Store. I was like, yeah, let's play this. And yeah, dude, it was just it's relaxing. Like,
Mm-hmm.
I remember having a really, really stressful day and I don't want to go to the esports room here and just get dumped on by 12-year-olds that don't do anything but play video games. I'm like, I'll load up some Stardew Valley and then I just relax and do the farming, scream when crows take my seeds. And yeah, I never really got a really great grasp on the whole building relationships thing. It was like, Abigail, take a flower. Abigail, take a flower. A week later, Abigail, take a flower. Abigail, take a flower. And I didn't really do a whole lot with that. But now I'm trying to. I started a new playthrough when we were all in quarantine that last time. I started a new one then. I have about 30 hours in it now from being in quarantine. But yeah, no, I really, really like that game. I like the combat system too.
Yeah.
Once you actually, it's really frustrating at first to try to figure out, the lower, if you get to, level 5 in the mine, and it's this is hard.
This is not easy at all, especially when you get to, level 75.
Dude, it's like, no, I don't want to be here.
Hard pass.
But, and yeah, I don't know, I really like it, and having to time out the seasons, is this actually going to grow in time, what's going to happen with this crop, and going into bankruptcy.
Yeah.
But yeah, no, I like the game. It's just a very calming game.
Have you played it?
I think I might actually have to pick that up at some point when.
Have you not played it at all?
Not really, no.
What?
The seasons
I've
is
heard
stressful.
about it, and I've seen Brandon play a little bit, and I've seen people play it a little bit, but I've personally never played it. I mean, it sounds actually, from what you guys are saying,
I think you would like it.
Fun. It sounds like one of those games where, as you said, when you're just stressed or you need to take some time off. It's just one of those games you can just relax to, unlike a few of the games on our list.
Oh, dude, legit. There's some of these games on here that I've broken controllers to. Dark Souls. But, yeah, no, it's literally one of those games you can play for 10, 15 minutes and be like, yeah, I'm satisfied, and then save and turn it off.
Yeah,
But I think you definitely, because I know you liked Animal Crossing, but it wasn't your thing. I think with the art style of the 8-bit with the game, I think is more your speed.
Mm-hmm.
It's kind of it goes along that. Should I do my 9 since we had the same 10?
Yeah.
And then go?
Sure.
Okay. All right. So my 9th is actually it's a card game, but I mean it's still a video game. It's virtual. Is Hearthstone. I am a sucker for collectible card games, And the big draw for me with Hearthstone was I actually played the World of Warcraft trading card game for like 4 or 5 years before it got discontinued in stores. And it got discontinued because they made the push to do Hearthstone. And I was like, what? It's free? And I still, to this day, haven't put a penny into the game. All I've put is hundreds of hours into it. And they just had they did a big rehaul, reset with it. I don't remember how long ago, because I didn't really play it a whole lot this summer, to be honest. But they added achievements, like all Blizzard games have like their achievement pages. So it added a new element to it. They have this thing called the Book of Heroes that adds a bunch of solo play options, because a lot of the solo play before you had to pay for, but they've been moving more and more towards it's just difficult, so that you don't have to pay for it. You can keep playing. It's just one of those games that it never gets old. Like, I love it. Like, I might not play it for about a month, and then I'll hop on for like 4 hours. It's just one of those games. Not like Stardew Valley, because I have gotten very upset with Hearthstone, because I'll be at full health and I'll get my opponent to like 3 hit points, and I'm like, dude, I got this next turn, and he's like, Alistraza, you're dead. Yeah. And just like, he'll just summon all these legendaries and just wipe my board. I'm like, I was having a good time not paying attention in history class, but here we are.
I mean,
you played the Pokemon one in there, yeah. But yeah, no, it's just, I like collectible card games. The art style's gorgeous. Everyone knows I'm a sucker for Blizzard games. There's a couple on my list, and just about every other Blizzard game in my honorable mentions, so...
And Hearthstone is probably a big reason why I got into Magic the Gathering, here at least, because it's very similar in a sense. But I mean, yeah, Hearthstone was a really fun game.
It's just
I haven't put nearly as much time into it as you have.
Yeah.
I mean, it was a fun game I would play with my friends while we're on our bus ride to the high school.
Yeah. That's how it started with me, playing it like on the way to like middle school or something. But yeah, no, dude, it's just one of those games that I think they've perfected the online collectible card game formula with the board is interactive. You can play with stuff on the board while you're waiting for your your opponent to go. And it's one of those things that the environment of the game itself it makes it amazing. I love it, but I'm very biased. So
yeah.
So whoever's next.
All right, number 9.
Burger King foot lettuce.
And we are copyright struck.
No! All 3 viewers.
Excuse you, we will get many viewers.
Alright, continue.
My number 9 is God of War. The game that came out in 2018.
I really like that game.
It was so much fun. It was the first game I got for my PlayStation 4 when I got it, because I was working at Papa John's that summer, and
Papa John's.
I got enough money, and
copyright stricken.
And I got a PS4, and I think the first 2 games I got for it were God of War and Spider-Man. And God of War was just so much fun. The ending got ruined for me by my friend.
The whole game got ruined.
I was not, going up to it, I probably wouldn't have picked up on it, that Atreus is...
Spoiler! It's new enough, I wouldn't do it.
Spoilers!
Spoilers! Click fast forward by 30 seconds now. Atreus is Loki.
Yeah. I mean, the story is really good. It went away from the hack and slash nature of its previous games. It tried something new, which is bold.
I do have to say, I loved all 3 of the original God of War games. I played the first one religiously for weeks at a time.
I think I played the first one a little bit when I was doing a trial of the PlayStation Play Now or whatever. They're online, kind of like Game Pass.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. But I mean, the story, I loved, what are the dwarves' names?
I know exactly what you're talking about.
I can't.
Couldn't tell you.
I've only watched a playthrough. I don't remember
the dwarves' names, but
I'm not a PlayStation
they were
kid.
really cool. You had gear that you could equip and change your appearance or whatever. The fact that Kratos went from this murdering psychopath of just destroying the Greek pantheon to kind of more of trying to a loving father, trying to make sure Atreus doesn't become like him.
Boy.
and going into the Norse pantheon, and it's really cool.
High key recommend Flash Kits Elsa versus Kratos. Solid animation.
I mean, not wrong.
If you're 13 or up, I'd say.
But and then I mean, the ending. There after you beat the game, there's a section of bosses you can beat called the Valkyries, and I never did it. I probably could go back because I could go back and do it if I wanted to. But you fight I think it's 4 or 5 different Valkyries before you fight the Queen of the Valkyries, and apparently that is considered one of the hardest fights in video games.
That one Final Fantasy 15 fight, hold my beer.
It looks like a pain in the buttocks. But yeah, so Jason, what is your number 9?
My number 9, on a completely different vein as the two of you, was Super Mario Odyssey.
Yeah,
and
that's fair.
I would have actually had Super Mario Galaxy as a higher number, but it doesn't fit in our
2010 or 2020? Or?
Yep, it doesn't fit. It's 2008.
2008, I believe.
It's that old?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, Galaxy.
But, yeah, but Galaxy is a phenomenal game, and it reminded me, when I played Odyssey, it reminded me a whole lot of Galaxy, but more open world, and I like that. There are some moons that you have to collect because the goal of the game is to collect moons to get your spaceship to fly from different, basically, worlds to lands to lands to lands. And there is one where you have to do 100 jumping jacks, or 100
jumping jacks?
Not jumping jacks, jump rope.
Yeah.
And I think the most I ever got was 55, and I said, I ain't doing this. I
This
can't do
ain't
this.
happening.
I can't do this. But I just really enjoyed the game. I just played it recently. I didn't get it when it came out. I didn't play it. I didn't even actually buy it. My brother got it, and so I played from him.
Mm-hmm.
But I played that really recently, and I really liked the game. But there was a lot of things that were very difficult, and if you didn't know what you were doing, it was a lot harder than it could have been. But I really enjoyed the game. I beat it. And I really liked that you could go from playing in 3D to playing in 8-bit.
Yeah, I did like that. That was actually really cool. I played, I think, up to...
New Dog City,
I just
Worst City.
finished... What is her name? Mario's first girlfriend? Polina. I listened to her song.
And you
did
said
that
done.
thing, and I was like, done. Game over.
New Dog City, Worst City. But...
Alright, Brennan, number
8. We're on 8 now. I had to double check the date with one of these.
can
But yeah,
tell.
my number 8 is Pokemon Go. So I know I might catch some heat for that because a lot of people don't consider, apps on a phone to be video games. And while I would usually, I agree, and it's the only one I even have on my list or in honorable mentions. But the reason, I guess Hearthstone, you could make that argument, it doesn't matter. The reason I have Pokemon Go at number 8, or instead of an honorable mention, is the cultural impact that it had.
Yep.
Because I still remember, the weekend that it came out, I was headed to a football camp in Portland, Oregon, in high school, and I remember we went to pick up something from my grandparents' house, and my buddy Leo and I, we both we hop out of the car, we're like, Mom, there's a Bulbasaur here! We jump out, we're running around trying to find it, we're like, yeah! We got back in the car, Leo didn't catch it, he's like, how'd you get it? I was like, I'm just good at the game with my 7 Pokeballs remaining after catching 37 Rattata. And then we ended up...
Wally.
Legit. And we ended up in Portland.
It's Caterpie.
Yeah, it's Caterpies, but I knew what you meant. We ended up in Portland, and I remember everyone's getting ready for the football. It was trench camp, this big camp put on by former NFL players and coaches. When it's legit, it's pretty dope. Mm-hmm. Highly recommend it for any of my homies out there in Portland or California areas. They have some really good camps. Anyway, we were sitting there in the bleachers, and everyone's getting ready, and it's a defensive and offensive lineman camp, so everyone's like big and scary. And everyone's like, yo, there's a Spearow over here. But then there's just a mob of guys running to the end zone, and the coaches are like, what are you doing? Like, we're playing Pokemon Go, man. And it was so much fun. And that didn't die out for me until about a year after it came out. And then they started, updating it heavily and really revamped it. And I remember the summer after my freshman year of college, when I was at Prairie Rep in Brookings,
Yep.
that was like a huge reason. A ton of us are still friends to this day and like have a group chat about it, because we'd be in the middle of like work period there, and like our buddy would come in, Holden be like, there's a Cresselia raid outside right now, and there's like 30 of us go flying out there and fight this Cresselia. And just stuff like that. Like, I mean, we have a group chat here on campus that doesn't really get used anymore, but from time to time, like, people still do raids around here. It's still a fairly active community.
Mm-hmm.
It has fallen in interest, I will say. That's the reason it's not higher on my list.
Yeah.
I really struggled with putting it above Hearthstone, but the reason I did was that cultural impact that it had.
People got outside for a summer. People were outside.
Exactly. And like my little brother still to this day, he flies around on his bike and does it with his buddies, so it's still going with the younger generation and the the nosebleeds, the nosebleed nerds like us that still play it. Me.
Me.
But it's just one of those that had a pretty big impact as a whole. So
I think I definitely do not play it as much as I probably could or should.
I'm
about to be playing it right now. I mentioned it.
I brought it up and it's like,
I gotta get my eggs hatched, man.
I mean, because I know there was one time where I think I was the only one that caught when we did a Groudon raid.
Yeah, you caught a shiny.
My
first ever raid,
and it was a shiny Groudon out, and I caught it.
One ball, perfect catch. I was like, you suck.
I was like, heck yeah, man! And
there's a Mightyena, by the way, out here, Jason. I'm catching it right now.
My number 8, and we're gonna be counting 2020 as part of the decade. I know
it's technically 2010 and 2019, but we're just covering 10 years.
But so my number 8 is the Final Fantasy VII remake.
Ooh.
It was like I bought it, and then that was the only thing I played for like 4 days. I put about 35 hours into it. That's about how long it takes to beat it. And I was expecting, I didn't know a whole lot going into it, expecting much, because I didn't really play much of the original. I got like just past their first reactor scene, and when they go onto the train, and that was about when I stopped. And I was expecting, it'd be a full remake of the entire game. And it wasn't. They just fully fleshed out the Midgar section, and so there's going to be like a part 2 to the game that covers the other half of the game. So the game goes from being like I think the original was like 40 hours to being like an 80-hour game.
Ew, a Pikachu. Sorry.
Fair enough.
Am I still catching it for that? Yes.
And I mean, it was really fun. The combat was kind of a mixture between turn-based and what they did in Final Fantasy 15, with that kind of more action-oriented combat. You get to play as Cloud. You get to do that scene where he has to dress up as a girl, and you watch him dance. In order to...
Jack's got some feelings.
Excuse you. He has to dance with one of the people in the city. I don't remember which section it was. I think it's section 5.
Fetish section.
Excuse you. Fine, I'm done.
Oh no!
But anyway, I guess I'll go. Awkward. My number 8 was Terraria. Have either of you two played that game?
We played it over a break once, but he got upset.
I got upsetty spaghetti.
Why?
I don't even remember. Oh, he was really tired, and I asked him something, and he's just like...
it was when you spoiled Gears 5's ending.
Was it? Oh yeah, you got really butthurt about Gears 5, because I literally had just finished it, and it had been out for a hot minute, so I didn't feel bad. And he's like, "You spoiled it!" And like,
Spoiled it.
Zach is an emotional baby boy, and that's okay.
But
He's very
anyway,
passionate about his games that he'll never finish anyway.
Terraria, I really enjoyed it. I had a lot of fun playing it.
I'm too stupid to understand how to play it.
It's interesting. It is difficult. Flying eyeballs are the devil. The devil is also in the game now. But I just really enjoyed it. It's a lot like Minecraft, but it's 8-bit, and there's more.
Yeah. There's more to do.
Fighting. There's more things to do. It's more survival based versus Minecraft can become the sandbox that it is, where people can build castles and whatever. But I just really enjoyed it, and I figured it deserved 8th.
Fair enough. All right, moving on to number 7. So for my number 7, I put Halo Reach. Now,
fair.
Specifically, I'm a huge fan of the Halo franchise. You guys know Halo Combat Evolved, Halo 2, Halo 3, Halo 3 ODST. Those were my games. But Halo Reach was that they perfected the multiplayer in my opinion.
Oh, yeah.
As soon as they added Halo Reach to the Master Chief Collection, I jumped on that to play the Halo Reach multiplayer again because I don't even know how to describe it. I love it. I love Halo Reach. It's one of those games that I can keep coming back to. The story was heartbreaking because playing like the main storyline with the Halo games as Master Chief or Arbiter. You'll lose an an NPC, I guess, with spoilers alert, like Sergeant Johnson every now and then, or Guilty Spark,
Captain Keys,
But then your main heroes are never really in danger and then you play Reach, and spoiler alert, everybody dies, including the character you're playing as.
They all die.
Yeah, dude, and if you'd played the Halo games before you knew Reach, like for me, I loved Halo literature. I'm sure we'll have an episode we talk about books, and I deep dived into Halo books when I was younger. I read the big collection stories that covered the fall of Reach and everything. Mm-hmm. So going into it, that with Reach falling, people are gonna die, but then you get this spark of hope. Well, I guess not. June lives. You get this. You get this spark of hope that, they're going to make it out because, hey, there's a ship leaving and we're going to get there. And it's just, oh my gosh. It was one of the first games I remember playing that, it hurt when characters died. I really, really was growing attached to the characters. And just how quickly they would die, too.
Yeah.
The one that hurt probably tied for most is Emil and George. Because George, with the heroic sacrifice of him dying to defend his home world because it meant so much to him, and Emil's sacrifice at the end, and then you can see Emil's body laying on the ground with the elites later in the level. It's crazy, and I still remember the most shocking one because there's build up to all the other deaths. You can kind of feel when they're about to happen. But Kat's death was instant just out of nowhere in a cutscene. She just got freaking just sniped through the skull, and you're like, whoa. This armor sucks. It was crazy, and I still keep coming back to that. The only reason I didn't put it higher on my list is because the Halo franchise has fallen off in recent years. 4 was not very good at all. I didn't really care for the multiplayer. The story was meh, and then Halo 5, the story was bollocks because there was this whole hype train around the story with the trailers, like Locke versus Chief. And then, spoiler alert, come to find out, it was a bunch of bullarchy, and they didn't finish it, or what, I don't remember what happened, but he chases them for 5 minutes, and then it's partners! It's complete waste of time, and then it's just, the fanfare with Buck being there, and...
But Nathan Fillion.
Exactly, but Nathan Fillion. But no, it was just, it's okay. The multiplayer was good in 5, I enjoyed it, but the series as a whole kind of fell off. Halo Wars, I never really got into it. I like RTSs, as you guys know, but I didn't really enjoy the next games in the series. And Infinite, I'm worried. I was excited for it, and now I'm worried. But yeah, Halo Reach was just that catalyst that really, 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 really got me hooked. Me and my buddies. So yeah, so that's number 7.
Alright, I guess continuing off that 2020 train, my number 7 is Assassin's Creed Valhalla. It is...
My mother told me.
It is the most time I have spent in an Assassin's Creed game since probably 2. Maybe Brotherhood.
Me, it was 4.
I did spend a decent amount of time. I never finished 4 because I got to this point where my ship wasn't good enough to kill these other ships guarding a dock that I needed to get to continue the story. I was like, I'm done. But I mean, it's actually a really good game. I know a lot of people have problems with it. There are some iffy gameplay decisions where, you know, you need like 2 people to open a bar door.
Yeah, and then it'll glitch. Dude, there's some questionable glitches in that game.
I mean, it is an Ubisoft title.
Yeah.
They're starting to become the new Bethesda.
First of all, Bethesda's queen anyway.
Queen.
You know, 2 people to open a chest, even though you're this big guy that can swing 2 giant battle axes.
Okay, Derek.
But overall, I mean, it has a really interesting story. You actually, other than like the difference between that and Odyssey and Origins, is you actually interact with the assassins. You actually know the assassins.
I'm sorry, they're not called the assassins in Valhalla, they're the hidden ones.
The assassins.
You plebeian.
I mean, raids are fun. I enjoy them. I do kind of wish there was more raids. I think they're coming out with some maybe eventually, but I kind of miss the naval combat.
I have to disagree on naval combat because I don't really know how you would do it well with the era that it's set in.
That's fair.
There really wasn't a navy for the Anglo-Saxons and stuff like that, and I mean, you shoot some arrows, I guess.
But I mean, combat is really fun. I like dual wielding shields. I like dual wielding daggers, battle axes, great swords. I hate that the first one of the Sisters of Frieder? Sisters of somebody. The first one I found was the highest level at 340.
Yeah, and then
like 100 something. I was like,
you called me about that. You're like, whoa, dude. I'm like, there's 2 others that are really low level. You're like, what?
And so I eventually found them, and I killed them. The first one I think it came my first try. The second one took me a few tries because it was poison related. Third one, the lightning one that's level 340. Did I lower the level a little bit to beat it? Maybe. But I beat it nonetheless, and I got all of Thor's armor. But there are so many glitches that do detract from it a little bit because I've lost at least 4 hours of content of like me doing stuff twice, and that drunk glitch because of the Yule event was really annoying. But overall, I think it's a really, really fun game, and it's a really good game. It's the best Assassin's Creed I have played since 4, and the most time I've put in since probably 2 or Brotherhood. And I guess on the topic of Assassin's Creed really quick, is there a destination you'd like to see Assassin's Creed go to in the next one?
Jeez. I would really like to see a Vietnam-based Assassin's Creed. That'd be freaking cool. Or like the Great War or something like that, or like World War II. I think that'd be really cool. See what it looks like in modern times. Because the only modern taste we got was Desmond Miles, and the reason I stopped playing earlier Assassin's Creed games is whenever it was like you'd come out of the Animus, I'm like, no, quit.
I think Desmond was okay.
And I hated it.
I like Nolan North. He's a phenomenal voice actor. For those who don't really know who he is, he voices Desmond. He also voices Nathan Drake in the Uncharted franchise. Jason, is there an era you'd like to see Assassin's Creed go to at some point, maybe?
Are you saying era? Are you saying
Like-
region? Are you saying
Like time
frame?
like this one did kind of like the Viking Age,
Yeah.
just after
What
Ragnarok.
about like Mongolian? Like Attila the Hun?
That'd be pretty cool.
Actually, yeah, that would be pretty cool. I think there's rumors right now that it might be set in China as the next one. I'm surprised I mean, Ghost of Tsushima is probably the closest we'll get, that they haven't actually done a Japanese kind of like that kind of era when the Japanese were at the height of their power with samurais and stuff like that. I'm just kind of surprised we haven't seen Assassin's Creed take place in that time period yet. Because one thing you gotta give Assassin's Creed is actually very historically accurate. There are some historical inaccuracies here and there, but they are like I've written a few papers on the historical accuracies of Assassin's Creed, and they're surprisingly pretty accurate. But yeah. So Jason, what is your number? What are we on?
7. My number 7, I chose Dark Souls 1 because it was the start of the franchise.
Fair.
But I also want to say just the Dark Souls franchise because it created a basically brand new style of game where it's boss after boss after boss after boss, and you have fun fighting. And good luck seeing the "you died" screen, because you will.
I love that's an achievement.
I was gonna say
Is
the first
welcome
time
to
you
Dark
died.
Souls. The achievements welcome to Dark Souls the first time you die.
And yeah, I agree with you. I mean, it created an entire new genre of gaming where you just have a bunch.
Yeah. Yeah.
You just have a bunch of games that are literally just called Souls-likes.
Mm-hmm.
And there are a lot of they focus more on I mean, they have story thrown in. I like how Dark Souls.
In Dark Souls, the entire story is told through items and told through.
And I actually kind of like that.
And like, you don't hear a story unless you're actually paying attention to the game.
And I really like it because that opens it. It opens up, like, if you're someone that really likes story, you can get that out of it. But if you just want to go through and slash bosses, you can do that too without caring about the story at all.
And
But anyway, I chose that as my number 7 because I've only played Dark Souls. I haven't played 2 or 3. And I've literally only played Dark Souls with you. That's about it.
Oh, really?
Yeah. But Brennan, what is your number 6?
My number 6 is Fallout New Vegas.
Ooh.
Never played it.
I know. Sad. Feels bad.
Bad.
I picked New Vegas for a couple of reasons. One is 4 was meh. 76 was booty cheeks for a long, long time. And Bethesda has kind of let me down in recent times. But Fallout New Vegas...
But don't you want to play Skyrim again?
No. Fallout New
Vegas.
I need you to stop. Fallout New Vegas.
But microwave.
Oh my goodness. It was one of those games. So, okay. First I should say Fallout 3 is probably the Fallout I've spent most time in, because it was the first one in the series I actually was able to get my hands on and play. But Fallout New Vegas, I liked the setting a lot more. Less gray and more brown.
More sepia tone.
But no, I like the Western vibes with it, with a lot of the music. Marty Iron's Big Iron is still one of my go-to songs when I'm jamming in the shower. But yeah, it's one of those games. I really, 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 really like big open world first person games. You guys know, you two know that. I'm a sucker for it. I'm a sucker for that.
I'm the same way.
Yeah, and it's just I don't really know what to say. It was the first time you could actually truly aim down your sights in a Fallout game, which was nice. It was also one of those games that I first started to actually understand what stats meant as far as those games go, and I spent a lot of time in that game. The DLC was frustrating. I don't really have a whole lot to say about it. It was just one of those games that I know for a fact I can go back and play a character and enjoy it. So it's high for mine.
That game, I never played it, but it definitely helped Obsidian out, kind of them, because they're now known for a company that can take an existing franchise, like they did with KOTOR, and they made KOTOR 2. They took Fallout, and they made Fallout New Vegas. and it kind of helped propel them forward into and actually like really, you know, made people know them more.
Yeah.
And they made a good game with the Outer Worlds. I haven't finished it. I lost track of what I was doing.
We can talk about that one later because I have a lot to say about that game.
I'd probably start it over if I went back to it, maybe, because I have no idea what's going on.
That's fair. But yeah, I mean, I guess to finish real quick with New Vegas, I really like the NPCs in that game. I really like it. That opening cutscene with Benny. That game's being rigged from the start, shoots you in the head, and then the dock immediately. It's just it feels more
dies at the beginning of the game.
Yeah, I don't know why, but like for New Vegas versus like Fallout 3, the random little scattered settlements that you can get to are way more rewarding than Fallout 3. I like the people in New Vegas. It feels like more of a post-apocalyptic grind.
Yeah.
And then the absolute fortress that is New Vegas, and it takes a while for you to get there, and it's a hardship to get there in and of itself. Versus Fallout 3, Megaton's like the first thing you find. And there's a couple of those, you know, with the USS. Oh, I'm blanking. But the aircraft carrier in Fallout 3, that's a big settlement. There's the Brotherhood that has like 3. There's like that Slavers one. There's a ton of them in Fallout 3 that it doesn't feel as difficult to live in that world. Now I get it's DC versus the Arizona high desert. Yeah. So like I get it, but at the same time, I like the openness of New Vegas. It's not constricted into the cities. I really like that. I really like that.
We're number 6, right?
Yes. No. Yes.
Batman: Arkham City. I know Arkham Knight had a lot of good things going for it, but the tank controls and just the tank overall was it was cool. I mean, with a map that big, it's the biggest map in the Arkham games. And, you know, you're exploring all of Gotham, basically. You need the Batmobile. And they implemented it well enough. But the tank, like, the amount the tank takes up is just... They could have shortened that down a little bit. And then the fact that, you know, you did a Deathstroke fight right already with Arkham Origins. And then, you know, as a reward for collecting all of the Riddler trophies, you fight him in a tank, and then knock him out of the tank and beat him in one punch. It's just kind of dissatisfying, and so I have to give the bump to Arkham City. I mean, it had a great story, great combat. It built off of what happened in Arkham Asylum. I love Mark Hamill as the Joker.
Yeah,
he is probably, I'd probably put him as my 3rd favorite Joker of all time.
Who's your first and second?
I would say my first is Heath Ledger. Heath Ledger will always go down as probably the best Joker to ever do it. Number 2, I'd probably do Jack Nicholson.
Okay.
I liked Jack Nicholson's Joker. And 3 would be Mark Hamill. 4 would be Joaquin Phoenix.
Mine with that, even though it's not really anything to do with our video game list, really, I'd have to say 1 is Heath. 2, I have Mark Hamill. 3, Joaquin, and then 4 is Jackie Boy. But
what about you, Jason? Who's your Joker list?
Heath Ledger, Mark Hamill, probably Jack Nicholson, Joaquin Phoenix, and then the one we're not speaking of.
Yeah, we don't even talk about that.
Cesar Romero above Jared Leto.
I forgot about him.
That's Jared Leto doesn't need to be talked about.
Jared Leto was just not good.
If a man sent me a dead pig, I'd not be happy. I don't care how method you are. No.
But continuing on Arkham City.
Digressing.
Good game, and I mean they got the voice actors from the Batman animated series.
Yeah, good show.
Yes.
And it just was so well done. There's so much to do, so much side stuff. It's so much bigger than Arkham Asylum. It is smaller than Arkham Knight. But, I mean, it has that kind of, like, just right feel to the map size. And there's just enough to do between, you know, Batman's probably the most famous rogues gallery in all of comics. And you feel like Batman playing the game, and it's
Losing
just
both your
so
parents.
much fun. Yeah, you know, when you play the game, you know, your
Being
parents
a
have to
billionaire.
die.
Being a billionaire.
You do get a lot of money, but you have PTSD, and that game does a lot to you.
Anyway.
But Jason, what is your
So my number 6, I'm going to say Mass Effect 2, which I have not played that game in years. Say it with me, years and years and years. But I remember really enjoying it. I remember that it was something I really liked.
Mm-hmm.
I liked the first one. I don't know if I've played the third one. But I like that franchise. I like the kind of open world-esque feel that you get to it. But
I'll definitely go more in depth because that's definitely higher up on my list.
That's way higher up on your list.
Because I love Mass Effect. The first one, it's a good story-wise, phenomenal. Gameplay-wise, it has some issues, which is why I'm excited to see what they do with the Legendary Edition that comes out theoretically in like 2 months.
Oh well. 5?
Alright, my 5th is Red Dead Redemption 2. I considered putting this one higher for one specific scene, but I'll get into that later. But one thing I do want to say before I start talking about this is a majority of what I say about this game will be spoiler-ridden. So if you don't want to hear that, just rip. Anyway, but Red Dead Redemption 2, I don't even know where to start with this game. I could talk about it for hours, and you guys know that, because, oh my goodness. I got it shortly after it came out. I think I got it for Christmas, or did I get it for my birthday?
I don't
I don't know, it was one of the two. But nonetheless, I didn't play it a whole lot at first. I got to the point where a lot of people got to in about right before Act 3 is when the game really starts to open up and take off. And I just kind of fizzled out, and I was like, the game's okay. Just kind of pretty Red Dead Redemption, whatever. But then over Christmas break, our sophomore year?
Yeah.
I delved back into it. I jumped back into it. I was like, I'm going to beat this game. And oh my goodness. I became so invested in the story with this game, the characters, their lives. It was one of there's been 2 games in my almost 21 years on this planet that I will admit I have shed tears at character deaths, and Red Dead Redemption 2 was one of them. I remember, and like I said, this is definitely spoiler territory. One of the last missions in the game is literally called Arthur's Last Ride. And for those of you, for people who don't know or don't want to play the game or anything like that, Arthur gets tuberculosis towards acts. Oh shoot, I don't remember exactly off the top of my head, but you're going through Saint Denis, this big swamp town, and you start coughing while going after someone, and you fall down in front of the doctor and pass out, and you wake up, and you've been sick for a while. Like every now and then, Arthur will cough in the start of the game, and it slowly progresses as you complete the game further and further. And then the doctor tells you you have tuberculosis, like you're going to die. And the rest of the game is just Arthur's getting worse and worse, and the last mission is literally called Arthur's Last Ride, and it plays the song That's the Way It Is. I can't for the life remember who it's by, but it's a, oh my gosh, it's a tearjerker moment, because you're riding. It's one of 2 times in the game that has cinematic, really cinematic properties with the ride, because eventually you just let go of the controller and it just goes. Mm-hmm. And that one, I teared up because it's Arthur's recounting a lot of the major things that happened throughout the story, and then you get back to the camp, and there's a moment where your horse that you've been with the entire game dies, and he says thank you while petting the horse, and then leaves. And there's 2 ways that Arthur, believe it's only 2, can die. And I got the bad ending, and it pissed me off.
Getting shot?
There's 2 ways. You either get shot in the back by Micah Bell, who's a piece of work. I'm not even getting into that. least favorite character in any game. NA literally wanted to shoot him the moment I met him in the game, but of course he lives forever. Well, until the epilogue. But anyway, and then the other way you can die is the good ending, which I had very bad honor, so not surprised. Is Arthur, Micah leaves Arthur there while you're getting chased by the law, and he's literally laying on the overlook of a cliffside, and he's watching the sun come up, and he succumbs to tuberculosis. And it's just one of those games that just, it really created an environment that I felt like I myself was in it, in the shoes of Arthur, which, video games try to do all the time. It's one of the few that's really put me in there and really invested me in those characters. Like, I remember the moment that Micah shot me in the game. I literally yelled, and like my little brother came out. He's like, "What is going on? Like, what is wrong with you out here?" And like, I got teary eyed, and from a video game, people, like, come on.
Well, I mean, video games are like any other media. I mean, people cry during movies. People cry while reading books.
Yeah.
People cry while watching shows. Or listening to songs. I mean, it's like any kind of media. It can induce any emotion.
Oh, yeah.
And there's no shame in crying.
No.
Or feeling connected to a character, or, getting invested in stuff.
Emotions are not for sharing, Zachary.
I'm a man. I don't have emotions.
Well, no, that was... Do you remember?
Yes.
Yeah, like that hurt my soul.
Yes. But anyway, it was one of those games that did the very rare, got its hooks in me to the point that I stayed away from the internet whenever Red Dead was mentioned, because I didn't want stuff spoiled, because I have a very bad habit of letting the internet spoil stuff for me, and then stuff's not as doesn't hit as hard. Like, a lot of the stuff with Reach didn't hit as hard because I already knew it was happening, because like I'd watch a playthrough of like the Rad Brad before I played it. I really like Rad Brad. If anyone hasn't watched his stuff, he does really good playthroughs, really good commentary. But, oh my goodness. Red Dead Redemption 2, I didn't play Red Dead Redemption as much as Red Dead. I think I have about 300 hours in Red Dead Redemption 2 right now. The epilogue, the reason it's at number 5 and not higher on my list, though, is the epilogue is okay with John Marston and his family. It's decent. It's him hunting down the members of the gang, or the start of that, which it kicks off the beginning of the first game. But oh goodness, that game just, it hit. So yeah, I'm gonna stop because we need to get going here.
My number 5 is, and I know it's higher on Jason's list, is The Legend of Zelda: Breath of the Wild. It is the first Legend of Zelda game I ever completed. I played a little bit of Wind Waker on the GameCube, but I never finished it. I don't even think I got that far into it, because I know there's a part where you can actually control the boat, and I did not get that far.
That's like the beginning of the game.
Okay,
that's like the beginning of the game.
No, okay, so when you go to I think your friend or something is kidnapped, and you go to that island,
your sister.
Your sister. Okay, and you go to that
Okay.
tower.
Yeah.
And there's those pigmen or whatever.
Yep.
I quit pretty soon after that.
It's like the demo. It's like you got as far as the demo.
Jeez.
Literally the demo.
But
There's
Breath
much
of the
more
Wild
after.
Toasting this man.
Is really good. I've actually went back and I've replayed. I haven't completed my replay, but it is a really good game. I mean, the shrines do get a little bit repetitive. I will give it that.
Dude.
But the open world, you can climb on anything. And you start to see a few more games implement that. Like Assassin's Creed Valhalla, you can climb mostly anything to an extent.
But not trees. Thanks.
Immortals, Phoenix Rising, you can climb anything.
Yeah.
I like the stamina bars, glide and stuff. I'm not a huge fan that your weapons break so quickly. But there's some enemies in the game that are ridiculously hard. I don't remember what they're called. But overall, it was a really, really fun game. The first game, other than Mario Odyssey, that I played on my Switch when I got it and finished. And, I'm excited for Breath of the Wild 2 when it comes out. I don't know when it is. I think it's either this year or next year probably. That should be a good game. I have high hopes. I think it has a lot more to do with like Zelda, I think, because you don't really see much of her, but overall I thought it was a really fun game. And,
can I piggyback off of that for a second before we go on Jason? It's like, as you two know, I just got a Switch for Christmas from my mom. Love you, Mom. Shout out. Anyway, the first game that I got for it, officially, the first game I got for it on Christmas was Breath of the Wild, and I hadn't played it yet. The most I had played of it is my one of my friends at Prairie Rep, while I was sitting in the green room for like 87 years during Wizard of Oz, was he let me use his Switch. He's like, yeah, if you want to start a new game on Breath of the Wild, go for it. I was like, cool. I got to the first shrine before I had to go on stage, and I never touched it again. But yeah, I didn't really have a whole. I didn't play it at all until then. I had played, I'd played Skyward Sword. I'd played Ocarina of Time. I played the OG cartridge. I'd played Zelda games before, so like it wasn't super appealing to me because I was like, different. But I finally got it recently. I have about 12 hours in the game right now. It's good. I really, really like it, and I'm really excited to beat it. And I've told myself this, I told myself, as far as the Switch games go, I will not buy Switch games until I beat the one I'm on. So I will not be buying a Switch game for another year and a half, probably, but that's okay. I am pissed off at one shrine. The little marble twisty one.
Oh, yeah.
I can't do it. Anyway, Jason?
Alrighty. Now that we've digressed, I'm going to, in an ironic twist of fate, my number 5, which was also Brandon's number 5, is Red Dead Redemption, the franchise. I would go with the first one over the second, not in terms of play style or anything, just because it is the first game, and it was the start of that franchise. I like giving honor to the first game in a franchise because it sets the tone, you can build off of it, it creates that foundation, so you can have amazing second games, third games, fourth games. And I will agree with Brennan when he said that those games are beautiful, because they are beautiful, and I enjoy the Western feel. Growing up, we used to watch Bonanza, Cheyenne, Westerns like that. I've seen True Grit. I've seen a bunch of John Wayne movies. And so I enjoy Westerns. And so it's nice to get that experience, that feeling in a game. And I remember growing up, we used to have an Xbox game that was called Dead Man's Hand.
Mm-hmm.
And it was so much fun. And it was a shooting game. Mm-hmm. But like it had elements of poker in it too. And it was so much fun. But, Brennan, if you want to go on your number 4.
Number 4. I'm going to definitely, this has been said earlier, but it's higher on my list for a couple of reasons. Dark Souls, specifically Dark Souls 3.
Okay, so I'm just going to kind of join you on that, because that is my number 4 as well.
All right, yeah, because we got to get going on time here.
With the Hunger Dragon?
It doesn't matter, but Huh?
The Hunger Dragon, or...
What are you talking about? Gaping Dragon?
Gaping Dragon.
Big old mouthy boy?
Yeah. Is that the third one?
I don't think so.
Or is that the second one?
Might be
or the fourth?
Might be the second. There's only 3.
I think
it's
the second one.
The answer
is
the
fourth
no.
one, yes.
Well, Dark Souls 3, the reason that I'm specifically saying Dark Souls 3 is that was, Zach and I did a co-op playthrough of Dark Souls 3, and that was the first Dark Souls game we actually co-op beat.
That's true.
DLCs, we have not beaten the DLCs yet because no. But it's oh my goodness. Dark Souls 3, I like it a lot more than 2 because there's not 18 million pointless bosses like there were in 2.
That's true. There are a lot of just throw in bosses.
Yeah, there's a lot of just let's give them some souls here bosses that just like okay. And they fixed that. It's beautiful compared to 2. It looks so much better.
The combat is a lot better.
The combat's a lot more polished. There's not It is. I would say it is the easiest out of the three.
Yeah, I mean there are some hard bosses.
Yes, overall
3.
it's the easiest, but there are some bosses that.
Like if you count in the DLC,
Oh yeah.
it might be. I would maybe give it the hardest out of 1, 2, and 3.
Okay.
There are a lot of hard bosses in 2.
Yeah.
A lot of really dumb because I don't remember what it's called, but
Snow?
it's Ornstein Snow is how you do a gank boss right.
Yeah.
Because you have a slow one and you have a fast one, and then you can use the pillars to break line of sight and deal a little bit of damage to Ornstein. But 3, I mean, the Abyss Watchers, I love their theme. That music is just so cool.
We used that in our 10-minute play.
We did.
Nameless King.
The Nameless King was the only boss that took us.
We had to use a third Phantom. We couldn't do it. We sucked. Slave Knight Gale.
Slave Knight Gale's in the DLC.
Whew, I know, dude's insanely hard.
I've like the fact that some people can beat Dark Souls 3, let alone the DLC, with
Outtaking
weapons,
hits.
level 1 with
No
torch.
Estus. Y'all need to go
It's just
outside.
Ridiculous.
Go outside. It's insane to me.
Um,
But yes, I remember. I had to summon 2 Phantoms to do Slave Knight Gale when I did my playthrough when the game first came out. But not first came out. The DLCs first came out. My bad. But that was. I don't know if I'll ever beat that again. That was rough. But
the amount of butthole puckering that game has caused, the amount of rage that game has caused, especially if we're covering the franchise. I mean, we're 3 is on our list, but talking about 2, you know, I think we mentioned this.
We mentioned
in the
it
first
with the
podcast.
Rotten for
you
me.
with the Rotten and me with the crap. I forgot what it's called. But in Old Iron Keep.
Yep. Something not armor. Armor is something else.
It's just, oh boy. And then Pursuer is actually kind of cool because you could beat him earlier if you wanted to. You probably won't. And then you fight him in that little tiny arena with the ballistas.
Dude,
so
trying to do that
if
ballista cheese.
If you can stun him long enough, those ballistas do work.
Yeah.
But if you can't stun him or parry him long enough, I mean, he just destroys those ballistas.
That's how I learned how to parry, dude. Was that fight?
Oh boy. But I mean, I'll probably mention it in my honorable mentions, but just the Soulsborne games. Bloodborne, I haven't played a whole bunch.
I got angry at it.
Sekiro, I actually kind of enjoyed. I didn't make it as far as I probably could have. I got a little annoyed with, because it's very parry-centered.
Yeah.
Overall, though, I mean, Soulsborne, or Souls-like games are also really, I love Code Vein, which is basically anime Souls. I know a lot of people like Hollow Knight, except for the Pantheon of Gods or something like that.
Yeah, we should keep going with the list. We should talk about these guys with honorable mentions.
Okay.
Oh, it's me?
No.
Okay. For my number 4, I said Witcher 3. I know that both of you have that too.
It's my number 3.
I do
Okay.
not. I haven't played it enough to talk about it.
I thought it was a very beautiful game.
Yeah.
I mean, there's a TV show about it.
I mean, about
Henry
the house,
Cavill.
but, I mean, it drew inspirations from the game.
I mean, yeah, but I just thought it was a very beautiful game. I enjoy open world games, as you probably can guess.
Nah.
But,
So I guess I'll do my number 3 right now, really quick.
Okay.
Since it's The Witcher 3.
Okay.
Yeah. I loved the game. I know the reason Cyberpunk's story is shorter than The Witcher 3's by a mile is because not that many people completed The Witcher 3 story, but I think I've completed it like 3 or 4 times. I really like how they instituted a little bit of Witcher 2 from it. Like, some of your actions in Witcher 2 can impact what happens in The Witcher 3. Like, if you let that Witcher from the Bear School, I think he's from the Bear School, if you let him live, you can actually interact with him in 3, or if, you killed him, you can't, obviously. But I mean, Story is phenomenal. You know, you're going on a trek to find Siri. And
She's right here on my phone.
Different one.
Oh.
So good. Combat, it has its hits and misses.
Yeah,
I will give it
agree
that.
with, I would agree with that statement.
But I mean, you know, like going out and hunting monsters is always fun. You know, fighting dragons, fighting Leshens, fighting all of this kind of like Polish mythology is really cool. And
I wonder why.
all the characters are pretty cool. Like I like Dandelion. You know, he's kind of.
Is he your
He's
favorite?
a weed!
I wouldn't say he's my favorite. I mean, I would say my favorite is probably.
Dandelion's a hoe.
Correct.
I mean, Triss and Yennefer are kind of. I mean, I like both of them. They both have their own thing. I'm not a huge fan of what Triss looks like in the TV series. Not what I pictured as Triss, especially with the games. But to each their own. But phenomenal game. I have hundreds of hours.
What do you mean
in it.
Hermione's not black?
And the DLC, like that is Witcher 3 is what I want from DLC. I want more
Yeah, it's very
than-
fair.
Yeah.
More than
If I'm-
15 minutes
yeah.
of gameplay.
If I'm paying like $10-15, if not more, for DLC, I expect to get a decent amount of
Listen
time out
here,
of it.
Call of
And you
Duty.
get that with the Heart of Stone DLC because that's the only DLC I've finished. I've done a little bit of the Blood and Wine, and I intend to finish it with my current playthrough of it. But from what I've played, I mean, it basically takes you to a new part of the map. You have a whole new area to explore, more new monsters, more new characters, and it's just, I think that's like the staple for what good DLC should look like. But, alright, Brennan, what is your number 3?
Minecraft.
Mine too.
All right, I guess we can both talk about it then. So, like, for me, Minecraft is so high because, I mean, I don't even need to talk about its cultural impact. I mean, oh my goodness. It kind of went away for about 5 seconds, and then PewDiePie finally gave in and played Minecraft, and then there was this whole resurgence, the Minecraft renaissance, if you will. And then the Nether update and all this crazy stuff, and just the last couple of years that's happened with the game to just really resurge its popularity. Not that it really ever went away that much.
Yeah.
I mean, especially with people like Captain Sparkles and the Yogs cast making all kinds of, you know, music content that's actually slaps.
Yeah.
Tobuscus, oh my gosh.
But
Do you like my sword, my diamond sword?
no.
You can have a Ford for my diamond sword.
Even if you could. I have a... Okay, we're not going to sit here and just talk through the whole song. But no, it's just... Oh my goodness. I don't know how many worlds I have on my console. Geez. Minecraft Hunger Games.
The OG Battle Royale.
The OG... I mean, yeah, really. But, oh my goodness. I don't really even know what to say, where to even start with that game. Just it's one of those games that... a lot of people, it's a hit or miss, you know. People either love it or they hate it. There's not really a in between for the game. I literally, while I was home over Christmas, started a world with my sister. I started building a mountain house.
Yeah.
And you banned me from the server.
Yeah, I banned Zach from the server because he's gross. Anyway, but no, it's one of those games that I mean I like you guys. I love the open world. To it and the sandbox elements to it. You can build whatever you want. I got a sweet little mountain fortress with a nether portal on top that's on fire. Just stuff like that, you know. I don't even know what to say. I love the combat.
Yeah.
It's frustrating.
Yeah, I mean, it's one of those games that you can like relax to. If you just want to vibe, you can just go into creative mode. Just build whatever you want to build, or do it in survival.
Creative
or it
survival.
makes you mad and
At
want
Zach.
to throw stuff because you know you have like a full diamond set, and then out of nowhere, you know, you're in the Nether and you accidentally fall and you die in lava,
or you spend countless hundreds of hours building an insane world with your best friend on survival, and then in transferring a hard drive, the world decides to self-delete.
The world says bye.
peace. That was really
I
rough
just-
because we had such a cool world.
We had a dope world going. We had a sweet little nether fortress going.
Hmm.
We had an awesome overworld going. We had a sick like waterfall down farm because that was the ravine one, right?
Yeah.
I mined out the complete staircase into a ravine. We had like built a wall around the village so nothing could get in. Dude, it was awesome. I had like a triple decker farm going. It was super cool. it was awesome. It was awesome. But it's gone forever now, so can't play it ever again.
Gotta do it again.
Gotta do it again. No. So
I loved playing Minecraft, and when I was in high school, Minecraft came out when I was in high school.
Yeah, 2011, right?
Yep.
Old.
Yeah. You're old. I was in middle school.
And I remember sitting and like somebody, I don't know how they got it, but they had gotten it not quite legally. I won't say illegally, but I had
South Dakotans pirating Minecraft.
no, nothing like that. But I remember playing it on the school's computer where the IT department at the school constantly blocking, and they'd like try to figure out how to bypass all of the firewalls to actually play Minecraft on these computers because they were the school's computers.
How did you become a hacker? Minecraft. I needed to play.
And I remember sitting in like study hall and playing Minecraft and like building this world and keep going, and it was like 3 years in the making, and I still have it on I moved it onto a flash drive and I plugged it into one of my computers just recently, and I was like, oh, I remember this, and it looks so old and so bad. But I love Minecraft, and I still do.
I still play it, and I do not. I remember who was I talking? I was talking to one of my residents in Dakota Hall about like video games, and he's like, he's like, were you one of those weird kids that played Minecraft? I'm like, what do you mean played? I still play it, dude. Like, what do you mean?
Weird.
And it's one of those. I remember it was one of those things that like when it started, like if you were one of those kids that played Minecraft, you were like shunned, and now with PewDiePie playing it.
You're still shunned.
It's cool now, like people play it again, and all of a sudden it's one of those things. It had a complete shift in the public's eye. Like it was one of those things that it was looked at like you were a weird outcast if you played Minecraft, and now it's completely mainstream to play it. It did a complete 180 on itself.
Mm-hmm.
So I it's cool. You very rarely see a game do that.
Yep. What's your number 2?
Oh boy, number 2. We talked a little bit about it earlier, but Mass Effect 2. I'm going to talk a little bit about 3, but Mass Effect 2 is one of my favorite games of not only the decade, but of all time, and I truly think it is one of the best games ever made. The story is phenomenal. There are like some lackluster, like Jacob. He just has some daddy issues. Miranda, Yvonne Strahovski is her.
Yvonne Strahovski.
Yvonne Strahovski. That's that. You don't need to say anything else.
Character-wise,
she's
she's
in the Citadel.
okay. But she just has daddy issues.
Me too.
Jack is like, I know some people don't like Jack because she's just kind of that kind of like goth, kind of whiny-ish person. But if you like romance her dialogue options,
BTGG.
Her dialogue options in 3 are just so cool, and they just improve her character so much. And then you have the homie Garrus, you have the homie Edie, you have the homie Joker, voiced by Seth Green. You have one of the best characters in Morden, and his sacrifice in 3 was so sad. That I'm also probably going to be getting spoiler heavy. If people haven't, the game is like 7 years old, 7 to 10.
Dude, anything
years old.
like 2018,
No, it's eight to
anything
10
that's
years old.
2017 or older, I don't feel bad about spoiling.
So good. Combat, it could use a little bit of work. I know people weren't huge. Mass Effect 3 improved on it a lot. And the DLC, like the Lair of the Shadow Broker, is phenomenal. You get to, hang out with Liara as she tries to become the Shadow Broker, and then that boss fight's kind of cool. The Citadel DLC in Mass Effect 3, I shed a little happy tear because you get everybody, all of your companions from the games that are still alive if you made the right decisions.
If they're still alive.
Like if they didn't die in one of the best missions in gaming, in my opinion, the suicide mission in Mass Effect 2, the last mission. Ooh, like it's just. That's DLC just make you get everybody together, everybody's just kind of vibing, they're hanging out, you know. It's basically about you having a party in your apartment on the Citadel, and then you find out there's this doppelganger that took your appearance, and you have to go after him and, you know, track him down and kill him, and it's just so fun. You get to see all the quirky sides of characters. You get to, you know, have this little fun little, you and Garrus are just, you know, being bros, and you know, he's just kind of talking and, you know, releasing his heart to you. Like, that is one of the best bromances in gaming, is Shepard and Garrus.
Just call it a romance.
And just the amount of stuff I could talk about, like how you could talk about Red Dead 2 for hours and hours. I could talk about Mass Effect
for hours and hours and hours.
I guarantee you and me could talk about our number ones until the cows come home.
Oh, but probably.
Yeah. But
because those games are just so good. I would give the edge to Mass Effect 2 just because I know a lot of people were not happy with the ending in Mass Effect 3, and the fact that in order to get like the happy end, like the true ending, you either had to do every single side mission in the game or you had to play the multiplayer. And as of right now, that's basically impossible because that multiplayer is basically dead. As cool as it is, and Bricky like raves about it in an entire video.
I love Bricky.
That multiplayer is basically dead at this point. Have you ever seen a purple orc?
Didn't think so.
That's just so good, and I mean all the loyalty missions and everything. Second best game, NA. One of my favorite games of all time, and it is definitely a game I recommend for people to play. You might want to wait until the Legendary Edition comes out sometime this spring.
I would recommend that. That's what I'm waiting for.
So you can get all 3 games. It comes with all of the DLCs, because there are DLC characters in 2 that like show up in the Citadel DLC for 3, and if you didn't play them, you have no idea who they are.
Yeah.
And it gives them, like, Kasumi's kind of cool, and the loyalty missions are a little short. Like, I was a little disappointed because I spent like $10 to get Kasumi as a character, and you do a loyalty mission that takes like 15 minutes, and then that's basically it. I mean, you have her, you can have her throughout the game, and she's a tech specialist, I think. But I mean, you actually have a Prothean who you don't see a live Prothean at all throughout the entire games. But you have a Prothean as one of your crewmates in 3, and you actually have to work for romances, unlike other games. But so that's my number 2 game of the decade.
I'll do my number 2 because I think I should do my number 1 first, so I have an incentive to stop talking. But my number 2, I don't need to spend very long on this. Elder Scrolls V Skyrim. Specifically the Alexa edition. No, oh my gosh. What to say about Elder Scrolls V Skyrim? I mean, I remember when it first came out, I didn't get to play it because my mom was like, "It is rated M, you can't play it." And then about a year after it came out, we were at our friend's, the Tripp's house, and I was like, "Mommy, look, they're killing dragons and orcs and stuff." And she's like, "Alright, you can buy it." I'm like, "Yes!" And I found it for $20 at Walmart. And my sister and my sister wanted, what game did she want? She wanted like a game on the Wii or like on her DS, and I wanted that. And I was like, "Here's what we're gonna do. You take this and go to Mom. I'll take this and go to Mom and be like, I want to get this for Kaylee because she really, really wants it. You do the same for Skyrim, and we're good." And she's like, "All right." And it worked. And I know she knew we did, and if she didn't know we did that, I love you. Please don't burn all my stuff at home, Mom, because I know you're listening. Anyway, I have, no exaggeration, thousands of hours in this game. I no-lifed the ever-living crap out of that game because I got it for Christmas in 2012, and I got a Nord, dude, the most basic, having never played an Elder Scrolls game ever, a Nord with heavy armor and two-handing is my specialization, really. I had this man at level 85, and then you know what I did on accident?
Deleted the
save, like, corrupted, so yeah, I deleted it.
When I got GTA 5, I was like, oh, I could separate this onto 2 hard drives.
Nope.
Deleted my Skyrim save. Couldn't separate it onto 2 hard drives.
Yep. Yeah, I accidentally deleted the save, and I was like, I'm never playing this game again. And the next day, I had a character at level 47. But yeah, it's one of those games that I can just keep playing. And like we've said with a couple other games, for me, it's one of those games that is really relaxing. The music just relaxes me. You know, the music of Jeremy's Soul is just gorgeous instrumentals. And a lot of the, now especially with Special Edition on like Xbox One having mods, getting to get some mod packs and add new music, graphics overhauls, new armors, new locations even, new NPCs, stuff like that, just added so much more. So, excuse me, because like I didn't have a PC that I could run it on to the specs that I would have wanted to. So being someone who's played Elder Scrolls on console for years and years, getting the access to some mods, while it's not nearly as many as you can get on PC, it still opened up the game to hundreds and hundreds of new hours of content, which I played, because the last time we were in quarantine, I put like 70 hours into a character.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, Skyrim is just one of those games that I can keep coming back to and keep having a good time. And no 2 playthroughs are ever the same with the game. You end up being like, all right, this time I'm gonna do a Dark Brotherhood sneak thief with archery and daggers, and then by the end of the game you're like, all right, I'm a mage in heavy armor. Like, it's never goes the way you plan it, and it's just I love that game. It's gorgeous to this day. Even the 2011 like retail release game looks good.
You do have it is one of the Oprah Winfrey of bugs. You get a bug, and you get a bug, and you get a bug. And it is very bug-ridden.
And you see, I never had any problems with bugs. The closest thing was in mods. Downloading mods, I'd get bugs. But the only bug that I ever had in the game other than that was Farkas with the Fighters Guild. His quest line, he got glitched. And he wouldn't complete the quest for me. He would stay in this crypt, and he wouldn't leave, and he wouldn't leave, and he wouldn't leave. So I killed him and ruined that completely because it was in the middle of the quest chain, and it bugged that for me. That was like the only bug I had. Or like I drop a sword and it goes whee across the map. That was about it.
And you could ride horses up mountains.
That's not a bug.
That's not a bug. That's an advantage. But no, it's a gorgeous game. I get it. People are like, bugs with the Bethesda games, but I've never really had like game-breaking bugs. So I get over that fact because, and for me, like I get it exists, and for other people that might be a negative, but I love the game, and personally, it's my second favorite of the last decade.
Alrighty, I guess my second to last is going to be Breath of the Wild. I know Zach's touched on it, but I don't know. I have always loved the Legend of Zelda series. Mm-hmm. I have played every single one of them, except for, I don't count like Hyrule Warriors.
Yeah.
But, I don't know. I really enjoyed, my favorite Legend of Zelda game is Majora's Mask, followed by Wind Waker, and then Breath of the Wild. And the reason why I put Breath of the Wild as number 2 is because it is the first open world. That's our key phrase for today.
Apparently, dude.
But that's just my favorite style of gameplay. And there was so much you could do. And I know Zach touched on your equipment breaking all the time. And that was one of the fun things I really enjoyed, was having to go after goblins and
take their swords
and literally like beating them with
a stick.
with tree branches.
Drop your spear. That's one thing I do like I've said. I don't have a whole lot of time in the game yet, but I do actually really like the fact that your stuff breaks pretty quickly, like your weapons, because you have to think about it. Like you're like, I'm gonna go raid this this mob goblin camp, and you're like, wait, I have 2 swords.
Oh no!
They will be broken by 2 goblins.
I can't do that.
Exactly.
And when Zach touched on, I believe it was Final Fantasy, where you dress as. I was trying to form my thought. Where you dress as a female and you do dancing.
Oh yeah.
Yeah. So in Breath of the Wild, it's the exact same thing, but it's you go into the
Gerudo Town.
The Gerudo Town.
Dude, Gerudo Valley. That's I'm talking about the music.
Yeah, it's fantastic.
Have you seen the Warp Zones cover of it in like a mariachi style?
I mean,
yes.
I could play it on the ocarina. I can't.
No, you can't.
We all have ocarinas, by the way.
Anyway, I loved that quest. I loved beating the divine beasts. I love the.
We're stuck on the first one.
Yeah, I love the thought process that goes into because you have to move the beast to figure out how to do stuff.
Yeah.
And when you move it, it does this and it does this and it opens up this door and it moves this and there's water here and water there.
I'm not looking forward to this.
And have you gotten to the first Lionel?
That's what they're called.
Yeah, you brought it up,
those.
And I
they
literally
kick my butt.
Anytime I see one, I go bye and run away. I say nope.
I shot an arrow. They're like the guy. They look
centaurs.
The centaur boys. Yeah, because you have to go get the lightning arrows from the one before you can do the first divine beast.
Literally, it took me close to an hour of me going attack, run away, attack, run away.
See, here's the thing.
Attack, run
With
away.
that first one, you don't have to fight him at all.
Yeah, I still wanted to.
I was like, I'm gonna fight him. I shot him once and I died.
Yeah.
I literally, as my arrow left, he said shock arrow, and Link said, it's just gone, and I was like, oh, this isn't good. And then I spent literally it took me like an hour to get all those, no, that's over exaggerating, like 20 minutes to get those arrows, because like I was moving like a half a mile per hour, and then all of a sudden he'd be like around the corner, I'm like, ah! And had to run away from him, and he's just like zigzagging as my stamina runs out. It was not a good time.
Yeah, no, but... do we want to talk about our honorable mentions?
Yeah, we could do them quick.
I was going to say, I guess I'll go first for honorable mentions because I've been the last one talking. I chose God of War because loved that game, but didn't play it very much. The Spider-Man game because that was a fantastic game, didn't play it that much. The entire Fallout series, I would say Fallout New Vegas and Fallout 3.
Mm-hmm.
But I enjoy the Fallout series, and I will get shot if I don't talk about Fallout because it's phenomenal.
The one guy listening that likes Fallout sitting here with his Glock. Okay, we good.
But one that's kind of, I would guess, controversial is Mario Kart 8.
I have that too.
Because I love Mario Kart, and I have played Mario Kart on the original DS.
Yep.
And I play Mario Kart now, and I still love Mario Kart.
I just have bad memories, so...
Taxes, anyway.
Yeah. The BioShock series, I'm pretty sure the first one was made, maybe the first 2 were made in the, late, aughts. I think it was 08 and 09. But BioShock Infinite is a fun game.
Yeah, it is. You actually have a useful companion.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Yeah. And then Portal 1 isn't, but Portal 2, but I loved Portal 1.
BioShock 2 came out in 2010.
Oh, okay, that's what it
came
was.
out in 2007.
That's what it was. And then I was talking to my brother yesterday, and he brought up Shovel Knight, and Shovel Knight is hard.
It is frustrating.
It is hard. I played it once, and I said, I can't do this. I'm stepping away. This is too much.
Mm-hmm.
But my brother beat it. And
Get flexed on, kid.
I was going to say, he's beat it, I think, twice now.
Okay, now he's just being mean.
Yeah. But it is very difficult. Difficult.
Fair.
My honorable mentions would probably be... we got Spider-Man.
Yep.
I would say it's the second best superhero game. I don't think... story-wise, it reaches the heights that Batman Arkham did. I would have to say Apex Legends is on my honorable mentions. actually, it's still fighting Fortnite. I mean,
I was gonna say
the top two battle royale games
PUBG.
right now.
PUBG. Never
I
played
would
it.
have to say, like, Warzone is doing okay, but it's nowhere near as big as Apex is, and it's nowhere near as big as Fortnite is.
Mm-hmm.
And Apex did help introduce that thing where you can ping stuff,
Yeah.
so you can communicate with
Without
your team
having to actually be in a
actually
party
having
with
to
your
have
I
a
was gonna say
mic.
the pinging system.
Do they do it? No, but
The pinging system
it's there.
is fantastic.
Just the Souls-like games, like Code Vein, I actually really enjoyed. Anime Souls.
Yeah.
Fun game, cool bosses, Pokemon, just
Ooh.
because I like collecting Pokemon. I like playing the games, but I miss getting
Did you-
steamrolled by milk tanks.
Did you ever play the original Game Boy Pokemon, like Blue and
Yes.
I played Pokemon
Because-
Fire Red. That was the first one I
Okay.
ever played.
Because
I have an emulator on my phone for Red.
I do too, actually.
It drains my battery like no other, but whatever.
Yeah,
It's better than history.
yeah. But I loved the original Pokemon, and I love playing those games. And I will get Nintendo may be shooting baby ducks and stepping on squirrels, but I'm like money.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Take my money.
I'm a dummy. Here's my money.
Hades, it came out
I
last year.
really want to play that game.
The story is like so cool. It basically takes you through. You play as Hades' son, and you just want to get out of the underworld, and Hades is trying to stop you.
No.
And every time you die, the story just keeps progressing
going.
and progressing, and you get new interactions, new dialogue. I think there's 6 or 7 total weapons you can use. A bunch of different boons you can get every time. You can get a boon from Zeus, a boon from Dionysus, a boon from Aphrodite, and they give you like bonuses to your attacks, or like give you different attacks that you can use on your way through. And you go through like I think like 4 levels before you get out. I've gone through the first 2 levels, and then I'm stuck on the 3rd level because you have to fight 2 bosses at once. But I think that's really it for my honorable mentions.
My honorable mention list is kind of long, so I'll try to be kind of quick about it. First, I'm going to start with Blizzard games specifically.
Ooh.
So I'm going to go down my list.
Boo.
Starting with
Boo.
StarCraft 2. Which,
Boo.
first, stop. You've literally both been playing StarCraft 2 for hours these last few days.
Oh, strong.
StarCraft 2, I love RTS games, all the way back to Battle for Middle-earth 2. Was one of the first ones I ever played. Love that game. This one's just way prettier. It's free now on Blizzard, which makes it a lot more accessible to people, which kind of revamped it in a way. It was one of those first ones, along with League, that really pushed the esports scene. Now, the only race that excels as far as playing StarCraft, Protoss or whatever, Terran, are Koreans. They are the excel. I don't like getting stomped by them in StarCraft 2, but you know what? There's AI for that. So I love StarCraft 2. Diablo 3.
I bought Diablo 3 over break,
Summer.
Corona,
Yeah.
and I definitely put like 40 hours into it just
In like
non-stop.
4 days.
Like you had actually played a decent amount, and then in like a week
He passed me in everything in like a week.
I passed him in like every level,
And I've been playing it for like a year.
I had like 2 characters already at like max level.
I know, I was like, bruh, come on. I love Diablo 3. I just love the hack and slash and just loot. It feels good.
And I mean, it did kind of also like help institute that, because everybody's like, it's like Diablo loot. You have white loot, you have blue loot, you have purple loot, you have gold loot.
Yeah. Orange. I love the Diablo series. I'm hyped for Diablo 4. I'm worried about it, but you know what? It's fine. I put Warcraft 3 Reforged on my honorable mentions because personally, I loved Warcraft 3 when it came out. I know a lot of people had a lot of problems with Warcraft 3, like we were talking about before we started shooting this. But I really like what they did as far as updating the character models. It's a lot prettier to look at, and it got a lot more people interested. Because anyone knows about the Warcraft series is World of Warcraft. A lot of people don't even know that like Warcraft and Warcraft 3 even exist. And that's really where the lore for that world really starts. And I love it. Let's see. I have Heroes of the Storm on here. I know you are not a fan of MOBAs at all, really. I have Heroes of the Storm on here because the community, as far as that compared to League, is astronomically better. Heroes of the Storm, I enjoyed a lot more because, I mean, a lot of people know I'm a Blizzard kid through and through. I love Blizzard games.
You're a Blizzard person?
I know, wow. It's almost like every single game of theirs is on my list in some fashion. I love Heroes of the Storm because, you know, you get everybody. I mean, you get people from Overwatch, you get they have their own stuff now. They have, like, their Nexus heroes that are, you know, based in just with Heroes of the Storm, and I love that. I think that's everything I have from them. Apex Legends is on my honorable mentions. I mean, we combined in here have over 1,000 hours in that game.
Well, we have close to 2,000.
Easily, because I'm at 600.
I'm at like 700.
I'm almost at 700 hours. Yeah. I don't even want to know what your hours are at.
700.
It has to be higher.
It's not. It's weirdly enough,
wow.
I still have more hours on them.
I mean, we did leave it running for a couple days on accident, but I love Apex Legends for a lot of the reasons that Zach said, so I really won't get into that. But
also hate it.
I hate it. We'll play like 3 games and then, all right, let's play some StarCraft against very easy bots to really boost our morale and then come back to this. I have Assassin's Creed Valhalla on my honorable mentions just because I love it. I've put about 30 to 50, I don't really remember, hours into it so far. I really, really like the game. I love the world of it. I love the recreation of England. And I like the game a lot. That being said, I spent a lot more time so far in Assassin's Creed Black Flag. I liked the mechanics of Black Flag a little bit better. I do like the combat in Valhalla better, and I do like the world better. But I haven't played it enough to really put it into my top 10s, you know. But I love the way the game looks. I bought an Eivor statue the other day when I was back home. I love it. Beautiful game. Highly recommend it. Animal Crossing New Horizons is in my honorable mentions because that game friggin' took off when it came out. You know what I mean? Like, everyone and their mama was playing it. My only reason it's in honorable mentions and not in my top 10, the burnout for that game is real. Like, it's such a great game, and once you really get into playing it, it's so, so good. But to stick with it is a chore sometimes. I know I started a new island before I came back here on my Switch, and I kind of burnt out right before I even came back because there's so much to do. So much. Now, there is a right way to do it in what I mean by that is to play, you know, no more than an hour or 2 a day. But I was one of those people that I was, you know, 10 to 12 hour sessions when it came out for like a week straight, and that was not good because the burnout is real for that. Black Ops 2 is on my honorable mentions because it's the last COD game I really enjoyed a whole lot. I liked the multiplayer. I love COD Zombies. Black Ops 1, I like the maps better for zombies, but Black Ops 2, my brother and I kind of bonded over shooters in that game. Because I was telling you guys, he just went out and bought the Steelbook for Black Ops 4 because he wanted to play the zombies from it. But yeah, I really I love that game. It was the last that I really, really, really enjoyed. Mario Kart 8, same reasons Jason said. I love racing games, but Mario Kart's really that tip top, and I love playing that with my family. We totally don't get too competitive at all.
Never.
Smash Bros, specifically Ultimate. Yeah. I don't really need to get into that. It's great. It's a very interesting esports scene. Played some tournaments in my hometown. Never won. My little brother kicks my butt at that game, and that's okay. Pokemon, specifically Sword, because that's Sword I really, really got invested in over break, especially. I love the Pokemon games, and Sword is my favorite as far as the most recents. It's just not in my top 10 because I don't own it personally. Mm-hmm. My little brother owns it. But I like what they're doing with that. Resident Evil, specifically 7 and the 3 remake. I like 7 because it kind of changed the dynamic of the games completely, you know, that first person and everything. I liked the 3 remake because I no-lifed the crap out of that game, beat it in like 3 days. Just because it's not a very long game, but there's replayability to it, and it's pretty. I mean, it's a remaster. It looks really good. I know a whole lot of people didn't love it that much, but I really liked it. And then my last one, my really long-winded honorable mentions, because I really didn't really know how many of these I wanted to go with. Portal 2. The only reason I'm not going to... Portal was good, but Portal 2 introduced, multiplayer, which added a whole new aspect to the game. I love the story of the Portal games. It's insane when you really start to dive into it. But yeah, that's my honorable mentions.
I want to throw one more honorable mention. That's Dead Space 2.
Oh, yeah.
I never beat it. I put about 20 hours into it, ish, maybe. I'm not sure. Maybe closer to 10. But I mean, it scared the crap out of me. It's the only game that I have been I have had to stop after playing a certain amount of time of it.
Because you get freaked out, man.
I get too scared.
I have to agree with that.
It's a freaky game because you can just walk through these kind of empty hallways, and then out of nowhere a necromorph just jumps on your back and you're dead.
Hola, niño!
The D&D.
But all right.
Yeah.
This man.
Number 1.
I feel like I should go first because mine has already been talked about.
Okay.
And I know that the two of you will probably go and go and go. My number 1, I chose Skyrim because it was at the start of this last decade, and you can play, people are still talking about it, and people are still giving Todd money. But, and there's Skyrim for Alexa. You can literally play Skyrim.
You can play it on your smart fridge.
On your fridge. You can play it on your Pip-Boy.
TI-84 calculator.
Yes.
Yeah.
On your Pip-Boy in the Fallout, I think it's a Fallout New Vegas, the Pip-Boy. You can play it on that. But, and the reason why I chose it as number 1 is because you can mod it until you are blue in the face.
Yeah.
This isn't realistic. Mud crab
is that a mud crab with a top hat and a monocle? That's where I draw the line. Come on, Master Chief. We're getting out of here.
Master Chief. But I put so many hours into I have put so many hours into Skyrim.
Yeah.
And I have started it over 5 times just for the fun of it.
Dude, I have 40 characters. It's not even funny.
And how Brendan talked about, you start off in your two-handed weapon, heavy armor, and at the end of the game you are a mage. You're ranked really high, or you have level 100 in stealth, and you're an archer, even though you have
heavy armor. Exactly.
And it's just because that's how you play it.
Love the faction quests, man. Oh my gosh.
But
there's just so much to do.
And I think my favorite was the Dark Brotherhood.
Yeah.
That is by far my favorite. It's It's so creepy. It's creepy, and I enjoy it. And you have to meet the mother, I believe, or the Dark Mother, and it's literally a corpse. Spoiler.
Real talk. Did you kill Cicero or no?
No.
I think I killed Cicero.
I did. I wanted his hat. Literally, I just wanted his hat. Have either of you done the killing the Dark Brotherhood from the very beginning? Have you done any of that?
No, but I know what you're talking about. And
when you first wake up and Astrid's all right, it is Astrid, right?
Yeah.
She's kill these people, and you turn around and say, no, you, and you stab her, and then you get the quest line to go wipe out the Dark Brotherhood.
I was going to say, my brother did that.
I did it on my 3rd or 4th character that I did, and I was like, this was really unrewarding. You do the Dark Brotherhood quest, and you're like, I'm rich now. You wipe them out, and you're like, thanks for the gold, and I guess the ebony dagger, but F you too, I guess.
Mm-hmm. A new hand touches the beacon, and that hand is Zachary.
That was my viral TikTok, man.
Oh boy, my number 1 game of the decade. Kind of a DLC came out for it in 2020, but it is Persona 5 / Persona 5 Royal. That game is so good. I have not no-lifed a game that much, and I have not, had no sleep for days on end because of this game. I cried. I was mad. I was happy. I was ecstatic. I was depressed. I mean, this game took me through a roller coaster of emotions. It was so good. So, the DLC kind of introduced like you got to play like an extra month of school and stuff like that, and introduced a new two new confidants in Shisui and or I guess Kisumi and Dr. Maruki, who's a psychologist. That the school brings in because of the whole Kamoshida thing. Because Kamoshida is like the first boss you fight. Because it's basically about you're a high school student that you just want to do something right. You came across this guy and he was assaulting a woman, and you're like that's not right. So you step in, and then he falls and he hits his head on the curb, and this guy turns out to be really powerful. And he basically says that you assaulted him, and so you get an assault charge on your record, and you have to transfer schools. And so you go and you end up staying at this coffee shop, and Sojiro is like somebody he's not your dad, but he's your dad, and
he's not your dad, but he's your dad.
That bond you end up making with Sojiro is just so nice.
So what kind of game style is it?
So it's
turn-based, right?
It's turn-based. It's turn-based. It's dungeon crawler, and it's life sim.
See, I'm not a huge turn-based person. I can't get over. I do not like turn-based.
That's fair. 'Cause like you go into a dungeon basically, and you go in and your goal is you meet. It's kind of like One Piece style where each new boss brings in a new character for your team, and you go in and your goal is to basically reform society, change the corrupt hearts.
Change society
of the adults, because Kamoshida, he's the gym coach, and he's bringing a lot of fame towards the high school, and he didn't like the track team, and when one person who is your first teammate, Ryuji, steps up, he decides, I'm gonna break your leg, and so he breaks the kid's leg, and he blames it on the kid, and everybody's like, oh, the kid is bad.
The one thing I can't get into is the fact that it's like based around a high school. For me, that like, and I understand that's very, very, very like Japanese focused for games and for animes and everything like that. But for me, that's just something that like I don't know if I could get behind, because I've been out of high school for
years.
You're old. 9 years, 8 years.
Palaces, that was what they're called. I don't know why I had a brain fart about that. And then you find out he's abusing the volleyball teams, and he tried to force your second teammate onto Kamuki into having relationships with him, and then because she wouldn't, he forced it on her friend, who then tries to subject warning. It is very subject.
That's my biggest like.
Which makes because it's like this
Turn
stuff
away.
really happens all the time.
And you're a psychology major, so like this is something that obviously like you really like, because this is the kind of you want to go into a career where like you're gonna see this kind of garbage. Look, not garbage like the game's bad, but like deplorable things happen every day. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
If you get to go do like the stuff for like the FBI or whatever you want to do. But like for me, it's really, really bothersome. So like that's probably like why I probably won't play the game, but I understand it and I have mad respect for it. And I mean, I love Matthew Mercer, so
yeah,
must be a good game.
He voices. I guess On's the third teammate, because you have Morgana, who's the second teammate, and that voice actor I feel bad for, because she voices cats and like apparently a bunch of stuff. And then you go on and you meet Matthew Mercer's character, Yusuke Kitagawa, who is an abused artist under Madarame, who just abuses his underlings and then basically plagiarizes their work and takes them as his own. And you go on, and it's just such a good game. Palaces are all different. The best palace is Sai Nijima's palace is really good if you don't count Persona 5 Royal. I know everybody says it's either Kamoshida's palace or Sai Nijima's palace as the best palace. And then you go into Royal, and I would have to say Maruki's Palace is really, really good.
Mm-hmm.
Just because, he, spoiler-ish, I will give a spoiler warning. Maruki, you find out that he's, doing research into this cognitive science, PSIENC, and his heart is contorted in the fact that, like, he doesn't want to take advantage of people. He just wants people to not feel pain. He wants them to not have to deal with these bad things anymore. And so he creates this way so that everybody's perfect world is achieved, where, I forgot her name, but sorry, basically, like, Ryuji didn't break his leg and he's still on the track team. On is, really happy, and her friend stayed at the high school. Yusuke didn't lose his mom, stuff like that, and it's such an interesting take throughout, like, almost like opposite. Yeah, it's like the opposite of what every other character you're trying to change. And then all the confidants are really cool. You actually have to spend time doing stuff. That's why I'm doing like a replay of it, because the first time you actually have to get your stats up, you have to get your knowledge up and stuff like that in order to actually interact with these characters. And it's just such a good game. I recommend it to anybody. I would say...
What is it played on?
It's PlayStation 4 exclusive.
Is it? Okay, it is.
Yeah, and which is why I'm really excited for Persona 5 Strikers, which comes out in February 23rd. It's apparent, from what I'm hearing, it's like Persona 5, a lot of dialogue, a lot of story, but instead of turn-based, it's kind of hack and slash.
Oh, good.
Yeah, I saw that over in GameStop. Yeah.
Such a good game. Phenomenal game. Easily, I would actually put it above KOTOR as my favorite game of all time.
You just got two weird looks, buddy. You got one from that one and one from this one, because KOTOR is...
That's like your game, bro.
I know, but it was just... The amount of hours I put into this game...
That's fair.
Speaking about amount of hours put into a game...
And we'll go on to you for our final number one.
Speaking about amount of hours and me trying to do this quickly as I can, my number one, while it will be slightly controversial because the game itself didn't come out within the last 10 years, but expansions did.
Boo.
World of Warcraft.
Wow.
Specifically the Mists of Pandaria expansion. So to start, I would say Mists of Pandaria easily in the last decade was my favorite expansion. Warlord of Draenor was Pupuduki. Legion was Battle for Azeroth was a little better. To my understanding, Shadowlands is great. People are really, really enjoying it. I just haven't resubbed because being in classes right now, I don't have enough time to play where I would feel like I'm getting my money's worth out of the game. My journey with World of Warcraft, like I mentioned last episode, goes back years and years and years, so I don't really need to talk about it a whole lot. And I remember when Wrath of the Lich King came out. That's the pinnacle for an expansion of an MMORPG or an ongoing game. Wrath of the Lich King is amazing. But I'm here to talk about Mists of Pandaria. And the reason that this might be a little controversial to people, especially WoW fans, is...
RuneScape best MMORPG.
Okay, anyway, when I say MoP, I mean Mists of Pandaria. So, like, when MoP came out, there was a lot of hype around it, because it was the first time... There was the first time it came out was... it was the first time that there was a neutral race in the game. And what I mean by that is it introduced the playable race of the Pandaren, big old panda boys. And
I know what you're talking about.
Yeah, you play through their starter area, and once you get to the end, you can choose to ally with the Horde or the Alliance. It's the only one that doesn't start already in a faction. And that was really cool to me. There is someone that got to max level of 120 before the reset to 60 now. They got entirely max level by just killing enemies in the starter zone with the Pandaren and played through like the entire game without choosing a side.
That's really impressive.
I would not have the time of day to do that. But I love MoP for a couple... I love like Asian culture. And it's gorgeous. And getting to like jumping on my Jade Cloud Serpent and flying around above Pandaria now, the zone, and just the music. Oh my goodness, I love that kind of music. I love the art. It's in my opinion one of the most it's the most artistic expansion as far as World of Warcraft goes, because it's not like just a hellish warscape. It's actually it's a beautiful zone. Like I mean it's legit. You know, I don't know how many hours I have in World of Warcraft, but Mists of Pandaria is where it really took off, and I subbed like for an entire year. Until Warlords of Draenor came out, and that was not very good. But Mists of Pandaria, it's beautiful. Chen Stormsnout is one of my favorite NPCs. Big old brewmaster boy. I remember when I thought he died, when the Siege of Orgrimmar, I wanted to cry. That being said, World of Warcraft is that other exception where I actually cried at a game. And we're venturing into spoiler territory, don't matter, it's old. But in Legion, 2 extremely major deaths happened within the opening act of the expansions. So, for those who don't know, Vol'jin is a troll in the Horde who, from day one, was my favorite character for the Horde, other than like him and Bane Bloodhoof were tied. So he was a troll, he was a shaman, I believe. And he's like ahead of his clan or whatever. And oh my gosh, I'm failing on my lore right now. But he was my favorite character. He had, that that very stereotypical Jamaican accent with da voodoo, and I love him. I love him very much. What? Oh, you need to make a call? You're getting a call? Oh, step out. Go ahead. If you don't want to be in here, it's okay. RuneScape. Why are you calling WoW bad, man? Anyway, sorry about that. I don't even know. So, Vol'jin dies. He gets stabbed because there's an invasion from the Burning Legion, the demons, in the game, and it broke my heart. He gets stabbed, he gets evacuated, the Horde pulls back, and the Alliance thinks they're getting abandoned by them, and that's how they start fighting again. And then King Varian Wrynn, who's been a major player in all these games, dies, saving his airships of his little snot of a son, I'm blanking. Oh my goodness, I'm blanking. Anyway, his son becomes king, and it's a whole thing, and then they ruined it anyway. But yeah, Vol'jin getting stabbed, and then Sylvanas becoming the head of becoming the war chief of the Horde, which I really liked that until they pulled a Garrosh and ruined her character, but that's okay. Yeah, I don't want to talk for 95 years about this game because I really could, and I'm sure I'll talk about it if we have an MMORPG section or something like that. You know what I mean? Like an online section or whatever. I'm sure I'll talk about it more. But yeah, it's beautiful, and I love the community. People have gotten married because of this game. People from different parts of the world meet in guilds, and they form lifelong friendships, and then they get married in real life.
That's whack. It's
insane. The community of this game's insane. I want to go to BlizzCon before I die. That's a bucket list item of mine. And I love it. I love it. It's my favorite Blizzard title, and I'm really, really glad to see the stuff they're doing with it. It's really, really awesome to see.
Well,
anything else you want to add at all about anything?
I will say, what got me into Persona 5, because I completely forgot, I was just randomly scrolling through PlayStation games. I was like, oh, that looks cool. I heard about it. I think it's something about waifu battles or something. Sure, I'm bored. Bought it, and then here we are. So, but I think that's it for the podcast. I think.
Yeah.
This week.
I think that we're gonna end it there. I don't really have anything to add. Thank you for tuning in, and we'll see you guys next time.